3 different product announcements coming up, people specking on Cokes of Commotion. Let's talk about what it could all mean. Well, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name's Louie. This is Kennedy. We're hanging out today. We're gonna talk a little bit about these announcements or announcements of announcements. I don't know, the things coming up in Q1 and Q2. I'm gonna give you really my hot takes on it, but more importantly, I'm gonna talk about why I think these are important things coming up in the Flesh and Blood world. So basically, if you've been living under a rock, we have on the website 3 new kind of announcements. We've got a supplementary booster set coming Q1 2022. Then we've got the Q2 question mark, and then we've got a standalone booster set coming Q2 of 2022. So here's the conversations that are happening right now in the Flesh and Blood world. You've got what is the supplementary set going to look like and how many reprints are going to happen. It was said on the stream that there would be reprints of high cards, of powerful cards. So I do think we see a reprint finally of Command and Conquer. Sorry, Command and Conquer's been reprinted. It's in the Unlimited sets, but the way that the Unlimited sets in Arcane and WTR are organized, it makes Command and Conquer in Light and Strike very difficult to pull. So now if it's in a supplementary set that's more like Crucible of War, where you have more Majestics being pulled and an easier pull rate on those Majestics, it will add more into the market and get the prices of those cards down a little bit, which is really great for new players. So let's talk about that. So the supplementary set is going to include cards for all the heroes, all the classes. Sorry, I think they said all the classes. So I think we'll see a lot of interaction there. I don't know what it will be called. I don't know. Maybe Crucible of War Part 2. I don't know. I don't think it'll be in a smaller box. I think part of the Crucible of War problem was printing the smaller box. We've talked about that a couple of times on the channel. There was some conversation with James White about 6 to 7 months ago talking about that the smaller box was harder to produce, and maybe that's why they went out of print with Unlimited. So we'll see what happens moving forward in this next supplementary set. How much of Crucible of War? I don't know that you're going to see a ton of Crucible of War reprinted in it, though. We'll see what happens. It'll be really interesting, and I'm looking forward to another supplementary set. I love the supplementary sets. Hot take on this, based on nothing. Hot take on the supplementary sets. This is going to be extremely hero-focused. Okay? What I mean by that is I think we're going to get new heroes for all the classes. And I think it's going to really, really change up the meta. Imagine if there were, now 2 or 3 Elemental Guardian cards, or if they added, different class types to the talent system for Monarch and things like that. There's ways that they can do this in a supplementary set to add heroes to give value, not just monetarily, but to give usability value to the cards from these other sets by adding in heroes. If you add in another, light or dark hero or something like that, and then some cards to back up their classes, I think that could be something that you see in a supplementary set that would really, really do, really good things for Monarch and Tales of Aria, as currently you only have, 7 heroes that utilize those cards. So we'll see what happens there. Supplementary set coming out Q1. Here's the big thing that I want to talk about. The question marks. We don't know what the next set is. You could talk about All-In and whatever, that's exciting. I'm more excited about those 3 little question marks that are Q2. Now here's what I think, and you guys know on this channel, we really believe in player versus environment, PVE. I've been saying this for 9 months, I think, that PVE is extremely important for the success of Flesh and Blood. I started talking about Cokes of Commotion 9 months ago on this channel, and how if there's ever a multiplayer format in Flesh and Blood that takes off, this card is fantastic. It was created for some form of multiplayer. If you even look at the artwork, it's like, heroes hanging out in a tavern. It feels like Dungeons and Dragons when you and your friends go to the bar and you're getting drinks in Dungeons and Dragons, and everyone gets a life, everyone gets a Quicken token, everyone gets to draw a card. It feels like PVE, and I think that this card has been a hint towards PVE. And then, recently James White did an interview, and we had the confirmation of PVE. So I really think that Q2 is going to be a PVE set. And now this is, I don't think it's going to be a set. What I think it's going to be are villain decks. Oh, villain decks. Maybe it's a box set that has a villain deck and then some hero decks that go along with it. So it's like playable out of the box, and then you could upgrade the hero decks if you want. But the core mechanic of it, I think that Q2 is going to be a villain deck. And so if you go back in the history of James White and LSS, James White actually did some WoW TCG stuff. He was, I think, a head judge. He had some connection to WoW TCG. And in WoW TCG, they had raid decks. And raid decks were very much like a villain deck type thing. You had a boss, and the boss did its own stuff, and whatever. And I think that that's a really great way to do it. What I would love to see, again, and I've said this before, is that somebody can actually play that villain deck, and so you're playing like a 4-on-1 type game, a little bit like Arc Enemy from Magic the Gathering, but better and not terrible. So I think this is really good. Now, this is the key point of this video is, why is this so important to me? Why do I get excited about PVE? Well, I get excited about PVE because I really, really believe that casual play is going to be so pinnacle to the long-term success of Flesh and Blood. That casual play, the ability to casually play with your friends and to invite new people who haven't played Flesh and Blood, is going to be the best way for the game to grow wide. Now, if the game wants to grow deep or tall or whatever, then competitive play is essential. And Flesh and Blood has been a fantastic competitive play game. But if you look at things Rudy said in the past, if you look at the world in Magic the Gathering, competitive play doesn't sell product. Competitive play doesn't create collectors. Competitive play doesn't make a game wide and successfully big. What makes a game wide and successfully big is people playing at a kitchen table, people playing at their house, people inviting their friends to the LGS. It grows wide. And I really believe that the success, LSS needs to sell lots of boxes in order to be a successful company. That's why I believe that the print run of Monarch and Tales was bigger, because they need to sell more boxes. If they're only selling 1,700 boxes or 35,000 boxes, 17,000 boxes or 35,000 boxes, they can't grow their size of their company to do more play testing, to do a United States team here in the U.S. that can help the LGSs in the US. If they're going to grow, they need to grow wide as they grow deep. That's the important part of a business. So one way to do that is to add different types of product that bring in players from all the areas. By creating a villain deck, you can add cards and add value or whatever to the Flesh and Blood universe without them being in hero decks and without hurting organized play, without hurting the competitive play. This is like Magic the Gathering has this issue where they print cards for Commander and it affects the meta because they put the card in, whatever, and it affects Legacy, or they put it in a standard set to sell the standard set and it affects standard play. Well, if you have a villain deck that you can do literally anything in, you can make a super stupid powerful deck with these new mechanics and these new cards that are super powerful, but you lock it to villain, then you don't have to deal with that in the competitive space, and then you allow the competitive cards, the regular sets, to be what play against the villain. You see what I'm saying? I think it's a genius move, and I think that that's what we're going to see with this kind of PVE or this kind of set coming up. And the key here is that it allows you to sit with a group of your friends, and not everyone has to be a pro TCG player. People can learn the mechanics of Flesh and Blood in a really fun, open way, playing against a villain, playing against somebody else, and you can teach them, you can look at their hand, it's not ruining the game. It's a way to teach people how to play the game, and then say, hey, do you want to play a competitive game? Do you want to play against you? Do you want to come to our Armory event? It's the same thing, but you're playing against me instead. And so it's a way to kind of turn this around. Now, here's what I would love to see. I think that's what we will see. I don't know if we're going to see villain decks. It'll be something like that. Here's what I would love to see is then the additional support for LGSs. So you've got the villain deck, and you can buy the villain deck. You could go to the LGS and buy the villain deck and take it home and play it with your commander group or whatever you want to do. You've got that. But additionally, as an armory event or as a some sort of I don't know, you could call it, I don't know, some other event type thing, not armory, but maybe it's an encounter, right? Like Flesh and Blood encounters at your LGS. Like come play the newest encounter, and the LGS would actually have a specific deck, or maybe it's the deck that's in the box or whatever, and if you beat that boss, that villain at the LGS, then you get some sort of super cool cold foil promo that is, I think it would be better if it's not usable in competitive play, if it's something super powerful that's only usable if it has some like effect that's like can only be used if played against a villain or something like that, so that you have these really cool powerful weapons that can only be gained through beating something at your LGS, and then you're supporting what the core vision statement is of LSS to support the LGSs and the people. So I think these are really cool ways that you can create this kind of casual play. And again, I'm so passionate about casual play because I think if the game's going to grow wide, this is the way to do it. The game is great. Flesh and Blood is an amazing game. It's also a very complex game. It's also a game that's not as easy to teach to other people because the simple fact is it's so much better than a Magic the Gathering where you're just tapping lands, and the gameplay is just more difficult. And so by removing the difficulty barrier of playing against somebody, and instead you're playing next to somebody, you're playing with somebody, I really think it's a great way to teach your friends how to play and to grow the game wider. And so that is what I hope to see from this Q2 question mark product, is some sort of PVE element. I'm super interested to see what you think about the Q2 question marks and what could be in a PVE set. Let me know in the comment section below. The booster box, the standalone booster box in Q2 also. Lots to talk about there. We'll do that in another video at some point as we get some more kind of ideas and spoilers. But hope you guys have a great day. Remember to be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again next video.